Hello and welcome. As Maria used to teach the Bon Trap kids, let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. The book of Genesis, chapter 1. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. Remember that for later. But first, I'm going to sing a verse from a song. So, if you're of a nervous disposition or you just don't want your love of music to be tainted, you might want to turn the volume down really low for the next few seconds. But don't forget to turn it back up. Okay, here's the song. All God's children got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, their paws, or anything they got. Okay, that's it. You can turn the volume back up. I said you could... Never mind. Why did I sing that? Well, I hope it's given you all an earworm. Long after you've forgotten what I had to say this morning, that annoying little tune will be coming back to you. And maybe it will jog your memory. So over the next few minutes, I want to link those words from Genesis, we're all created in God's image, and the words from the song, we've all got a place in the choir, with the US Declaration of Independence, how much of our bodies are made up of oxygen, and our value to God. Simples. Let's start with the US Declaration of Independence, penned by Thomas Jefferson in 1776. It included the immortal phrase, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Great words. And such a shame that they weren't true. 40 of the 56 signatories to that declaration owned slaves, as did 10 of the first 12 US presidents. When they said men, they meant men. Certainly not women who had to wait 150 years to get the vote. And not even all men. Not if you were black, Latino, Native American or Asian. Somehow the words, "all white property-owning men are created equal," don't have the same ring, do they? Sadly, recent events in Minneapolis, the killing of George Floyd in full view, have shown that not all attitudes have changed. We haven't yet reached Reverend Martin Luther King's dream that his 4 little children will be judged not by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. There have been some really moving posts on Facebook of black African Americans sharing what it is like to live inside their skin. One, a 6'5", athletic-built guy, said he only feels safe walking around his own predominantly white suburban neighbourhood if he has his 4-year-old daughter with him. When she is there, people see a young dad. Without her, they see a threat and call the police. And as we've all seen, that can have dreadful consequences if your skin is the wrong colour. We mustn't let the minority of extremists who do stupid stuff at the demonstrations and the side issue of statues and comedy programmes blind us to the very real pain felt by so many, not just in America, but here in the UK, in our towns, on our streets. Even as the President of the Methodist Conference has said this week, in our church. Let's move on to oxygen. Did you know that 61% of our bodies are made up of oxygen and another 10% hydrogen? So why don't we float around like balloons? Because the weird thing is that if you combine those two really light gases, what do you get? Water. Which is heavy. I told you it was weird. I got that information from a book I'm reading, The Body, A Guide for Occupants by Bill Bryson. And here are two more interesting facts. The very top layer of our skin, less than 1 millimetre thick and translucent if you held it up to the light, is where all our skin colour is. It has evolved differently simply to maximise how much vitamin D we can get from the sun. The less natural sunlight you get, the whiter your skin needs to be to let the vitamin D through. And that's it. That's race. Underneath that, we're all the same. Yet look at how many people have been enslaved or hated or denied fundamental rights because of the colour of that outer layer. Madness. All those medieval paintings of Adam and Eve as that white couple hiding their modesty in the Garden of Eden, they were black-skinned. We know that white skin only came later as people moved north. If you live in Yorkshire, you need all the vitamin D help you can get. Second fact. A few years ago, the Royal Society of Chemistry calculated how much it would cost to assemble all the elements necessary to build the actor Benedict Cumberbatch, representing a typical size human. We've already heard about oxygen and hydrogen. Add in some carbon, nitrogen, calcium and phosphorus, and you've got 99.1% of what makes us. The last bit is the expensive bit, with manganese, tin, copper and a whole pile of tiny bits of other stuff that I've never heard of. So how much would it cost to build I can't say his name, Benedict Cumberbatch? Well, according to the RSC in 2013, it was £96,546 and 79p. What do you reckon? For the same money, you could have Benedict Cumberbatch or me. Which is better value? Oh. Frankly, that wasn't the answer I was hoping for. Of course, it's nonsense. The supposed monetary value of anyone tells us nothing about them as an individual, the content of their character. And here's the thing. The God who created us, who, as the psalmist put it, knitted us together in our mother's womb, gives every one of us an infinite value. The proof being that he sent Jesus to die on a cross for every one of us. And that his last words before returning to the Father were to go and make disciples of all nations. Unlike any man-made declarations, the word of God in the Bible tells us unequivocally that all people are equal before God, all equally loved. Skin colour, ability or disability, sex or sexuality, age, wealth or lack of it, all irrelevant. As Christians, as a people of hope, we should work toward that day when all people see God's children as he sees them. As it said in the song, all God's children got a place in the choir. And talking of choirs, there are some great videos on YouTube of virtual choirs who can't get together at the moment and have recorded their parts all alone at home, miles apart from each other, and which have then been mixed by brilliant techie people to create a combined harmony. I particularly like The Blessing. If you look it up on Google, you'll find versions from the UK, Hawaii, Nigeria, France, South Africa, in British Sign Language and Makaton, from Sweden and Singapore and Zimbabwe, from professional choirs and kids with learning disabilities, black, white, Asian, every skin colour, every culture you can imagine, all singing words from the Bible. It's Numbers chapter 6, verse 24, if you want to look it up. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. So when we finish in a minute, search for the UK blessing. And you can listen again to that 3,000-year-old blessing. Even if the music isn't your style, persevere. And as you listen, watch their faces. Different colours, different shapes, different ages, different abilities. And all calling on God's blessing of our country at this difficult time, and of you. They're not just a choir. It's not just a song. It's God's blessing on all of us, on you. Enjoy. Bye for now.